Hey!
Hey! Another show. So, wait, before we begin.
Okay.
Valentine's Day around the corner. So guess what I did, buddy? I got you a gift. Kate, if you would, hand him the gift.
Okay.
Thank you, Kate.
Thanks, Kate. So I should open
Just open
it?
it. Yeah, the Valentine's gift. You're supposed to be delighted.
Alright. Well, it's just,
Happy
you
and
have a
delighted.
little history of things like this exploding in my face.
No memory of such things. It should be fine. Can you hold it up, please, so people can see the gift?
Ooh, chocolate-covered pretzels from Target. Very nice. That's
See?
my favorite. Salty
Well,
and
you're-
sweet.
You're one of my top 10 friends.
Well,
I'm grateful.
I can't believe I made the top 10.
Yeah.
It's funny that you did that because I actually
Funny.
also got you a Valentine's gift, Matt. Believe it or not. Since you're my 15th best friend.
Oh.
And the thing is that I was concerned, for me right now in February, it's really cold outside.
Yeah.
For you there in Florida, as always, it's hot. So I was a little concerned about, whatever Valentine's treats I sent you turning into a terribly gooey mess. So I enlisted also the help of your lovely wife to give you the gift in my stead.
Hmm.
Gina,
Oh.
happy Valentine's Day.
Wow.
Yeah, is it good?
No. You son of a...
Welcome to another edition of Face to Face to Face Webcast. Where
Episode 10.
now, Matt, why are you bearded for this episode?
I was afraid you wouldn't be, because we shaved you last time. I had no idea that you were basically a Sasquatch.
I am a Sam Squanch.
You know what's sad is, only this part of me seems to be aging poorly. The rest of me I've aged fairly well, like someone young, but this part is like an 80-year-old man. My chin.
So now our guest today is our very good old friend,
One
Nick.
of my best. Nick.
who's known as Nick Escalante on Facebook, probably for privacy reasons. Dr. Nick.
All right, so welcome, Dr. Nick.
Where?
I don't know.
Wait.
He's like,
Ah!
he's rising from the dead.
Hey guys.
It's good to see you. You know the last time I saw Nick? This is one of those things that makes you question if there is such a thing as fate or just coincidence is awesome. So the last time I saw Nick in person, I was on a video shoot. I live in Florida, and I go on a video shoot in Ontario, California, which I had never been to before. And Nick just happens to be coming back from Australia, was it? And he's stopping in California on his way to living in New York. But it just happened to be in the same day or two span where we got to meet up in LA and walk the Hollywood squares, and quite coincidental. So that's cool how life works, right? I think so.
And that, my friend Matt, is why we do face to face to face.
Is it?
Yeah. So that we can, after years of not having seen someone face to face, we can catch up.
Right, because Nick, for me, we were quite close to best of pals for a while in high school and college. He was my drinking buddy. He was my filmmaker helper. He was my Sicko Hammer Guy shirt seller. We both made shirts together. He was a very important guy. And then what's stupid about life is, it's life, but you do your thing, you move along. And sadly, the only way we can know each other much anymore, it's a good thing and a bad thing, is Facebook, which is very small, little tiny posts here and there and pictures. So we're going to have a real conversation.
Likewise, I haven't seen you, Nick, in several years, and we were very close, and I would love to get to know what I've been missing.
All right.
So this is how it goes, Nicholas.
Yeah.
Greg does not know the questions I'm going to ask you. I don't know the questions he's going to ask. And so, Greg, would you like to begin, or do you want me to begin with the questioning?
Yeah, I'll start. I know, Nick, that last time I talked to you, working for Google.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still at Google. I've been there for 11 years now, which is insane. And I think the coolest thing is that, like, it's still, it was pretty big when I joined, but now it's just completely unfathomably large. But it's still, like, run kind of like a weird anarcho-commune in many ways. Like, it's... Are you, like, actually growing a beard, Matt Zabel?
No, I'm gonna shave it soon after the show. But I have a question that kind of goes along with what you were just saying. With Google, you've done lots of traveling. Back in the day with Kimon, you were in a band touring the nation. So here's my question. What is your absolute favorite place you visited in this entire world? Why? And least favorite place that was just horrifying, and why?
I went to Ecuador a couple years ago, and I really, really, really like Ecuador. It's really beautiful, and the people there are amazing. I like going to Berlin a lot. Like, if there were another city in the world that I moved to, it might be Berlin. The worst would be, I don't know.
Like somewhere maybe touring that was just...
Oh, okay. So sure. So St. Louis, Missouri is I've had the absolute worst time in. I played a show. It was the first day of Kimon's third tour, and we drove all the way from Philadelphia to St. Louis. And it was like, have you ever had St. Louis pizza? It is an abomination. First of all, St. Louis pizza. It's like you basically take Cheese Whiz and you put it on a cracker. And that's called pizza there.
Oh my God!
And because obviously I have these awful opinions about pizza. So karmically, while we were eating the pizza, our van got broken into. So all of our things got stolen. But they didn't take the most expensive thing in the van, which was our equipment, which was also insured, incidentally. No, they just took our bags, which had our dirty laundry in it, and our keys to our house, and stuff completely invaluable to them, or not valuable to them, but very valuable to us. And because
they couldn't carry the equipment, it was just a smash and run.
Yeah, I mean, they just smashed the window and grabbed the bags that they saw, and there's my house keys and my clothes and my journal, and I was very pissed about that.
That sucks. And
it must smell in those vans, though, right? When you're driving around,
it's not cute. It is not cute.
It can't be a good thing. It's hard to air that sucker out, I would think.
You cannot purchase enough of those hanging pine trees to make it okay. It's true.
Because you've been to all these different countries, I mean, what's the biggest cultural difference you see in other places than good old US of A?
India was a big change for me. I was in India for 2 months. Just the amount of sort of poverty that you're confronted with every single moment on the street is at a level that I had never really seen before. And that actually took a while for me to get used to it. But I mean, that's exactly what happened. After a few weeks, you just like everything, it becomes part of the texture that's around you, and you just sort of, you don't see it anymore, which is how our brains work. And it's kind of crazy. I mean, the cacophony and the chaos of the streets in India. I remember when I came back, I stood in the middle of Times Square in New York, and was just it's so peaceful here. It's so quiet and calm. It was incredible. Just the difference there. So I mean, sort of everything is magnified in many ways there. The color, the sense. It's just more. There's more of it. Everything is just in excess, so you're sort of overwhelmed. And I think that's why I kind of had this mild breakdown the first couple of weeks I was there, because it was sensory overload for me, which was very new. I've lived in New York for so long.
City, right?
Cities,
supposed to be the busiest.
So for me, even I was overwhelmed, and I'm not somebody that generally gets overwhelmed. So it was that for me was pretty eye opening.
All right, so here's my thought, because I do have a couple. I definitely have more questions. But as we do in most shows, to the people we love the most, we play some games. So this time, we're going to play charades.
Of course, everyone watching, play along.
All right, I'll go first.
This is a TV show. For one word.
confused?
TV show.
One word.
I don't have enough TV. Insanity.
Whose line is it anyway?
It's one word.
No.
Questions. What is a TV show that has to do with questions?
Can you do a sounds like?
Okay. I don't know if I'll try one.
Sounds like
Gambling.
money, paying, transaction, paying, money, buying.
I just don't know what I'm doing in here.
I have no idea. Cost? Lost?
Sounds
Lost!
I'm doing Lost. Where
Oh.
am I? Don't know where I am. I'm going.
I really should have gotten that one.
You're a big Lost fan. I knew Greg could have done it.
Yeah.
All right, go, Nicholas.
TV show. 2 words.
2 words. TV.
First word.
First word. 2 words. Cradle the baby. Cradle the baby. Put it to sleep. Quiet. 2 babies. 1 baby,
Twins?
2 babies. 2 men and a baby.
Twins.
No.
Word. Twin Peaks.
Yay!
Yeah!
All right, go, Greg. Song. Pointing at us.
Wait.
One word. 2 words.
2 words.
First word. Monkey, ape. Gorilla biscuits.
Yes! Yeah!
All right, here's the last one. You better get this. This is, in my mind, this was so simple. Ready?
Movie. Punch, drunk, love.
Yay! That was good.
Punch Drunk Love. All right, so back to the show.
Back to the show!
Hey, give
Have a show. Okay, so looking at your Facebook, besides seeing that you travel a lot, one thing that you would notice if you knew Nick in high school and then you stopped knowing him is that he's gay.
He is?
So what I want to do was ask you a couple questions, but what I realized, and I seriously, this is a moment where I do want to apologize to you, is the second I found out you were gay, I believe I loved you and treated you the same the second before and after. But what I didn't do is ask you very basic questions. He was the best man at my wedding. He's one of my best friends, and I didn't ask him basic questions about his feelings and what he's gone through. And I think that was wrong, and so I do want to apologize for that. But I do want to ask those questions.
You're here.
Okay, so when did you know? Like, you knew that you knew. When was that?
When did I know that I was gay? Well, I mean, I think there's like knowing that you're attracted to who you're attracted to, and I think that comes a lot earlier because sort of straight and gay is more of a cultural creation in many ways, or societal at least. And I definitely knew that I was attracted to dudes like when I was like 5.
So you didn't. I was one of your closest friends, and you did not tell me. So what was it like feeling that way, going to a Christian school, so you have that put on you, and you can't say anything. Like, you're not saying anything. You have to hold it in, even though it's something that you feel. How did that feel?
It fucking.
And
sucked.
I should have asked you that a long time ago. What is it? Say again.
It fucking sucked. It was not pleasant most of the time.
In high school, you at least acted like you were interested in some girls.
This was
that,
saying his sexuality is a continuum. It's not a black and white. So,
is that like a fallacy that there's you're one side or you're the other and there's no in between? I mean that.
I think that's been mostly borne out in social literature. Very few people are Kinsey 1 or Kinsey 5, right? There are people.
It felt like, and I'm obviously looking at it from the outside, but it felt like there was pressure to either you're gay or you're not gay. Like almost like it was bad to be.
Yeah, that would be a question I have. Like, in the gay community, is it now? Because I've definitely met some gay dudes who are like, "There's no such thing as bi guys," right? You know what I mean? Has that changed over time? Has it gotten better?
No, I think it's still really difficult if you identify as bisexual in the LGBT community. I think they're in many ways bisexuals have like a really hard time being part of that, because there is sort of this, I don't know if it's a resentment or if it's a stigma, but I mean, I think a lot of it is also because a lot of people's paths towards, coming out often involves, like, first of all, saying you're bisexual.
Right.
And then you
Because
saying you're
that's
gay.
safer,
So
right?
I think there's a lot of, people, rightly or wrongly have skepticism when somebody claims that they're bisexual, and they say, oh, well, you just haven't gone all the way yet, and that's bullshit.
Right, I've heard that, right.
So no, I think it actually is a big problem. It's part of a larger thing where, we have to categorize things as black and white, and we're as a culture, we're very bad at understanding gray areas and continuums, and we need an easy place to put people and to put ideas, because we have very simple monkey brains.
I was gonna say, I think that's not necessarily an American cultural problem. That's our evolutionary.
It's a general
history,
human thing, but
you know
I think we're not. I think we're pretty bad at it in America.
Yeah, for sure.
Places are better at it than others.
So I have a question related to all this on a sort of different note, but do you have a special person in your life right now?
I have lots of special people in my life. But
what I mean is a
me
partner.
if I am currently with somebody, I'm single right now. I am not really looking for anything actively, but I am open to the universe.
You want to date
and whatever the universe wants to give me.
You want to date the universe?
I am in love with the universe, yes.
That's sweet.
You know what the secret to a long relationship is?
What's the secret, Nick?
Separate bedrooms. Angela Lansbury told me that.
All right, so my last question along those lines is, if you found the right person, the right situation, would you ever be interested in, like, a family? Is that something just not interesting to you?
Well, so your question already has some form of, like, prejudice in it, and that what does that mean what do you mean exactly by family?
Well, what I mean is raising small children. That always gets me on this too. It's the vagaries of language.
Yes, and I always say you need to. It might take an extra sentence or two, but you can, instead of turning it into a stereotype, you can explain it, and then there's less miscommunication.
So, would you be interested in raising small children if the situation were right, or is that
something
you're not interested in doing?
There you go.
I'm not sure, actually. There was definitely a time when I thought I wanted to have kids, but I'm certainly. I mean, there's two things, right? There's, like, bringing another being into this world, and then there's, like, raising a child, and often they're correlated, but they don't have to be.
Of course.
I'm definitely leaning away from the bring another being into this world camp. I think there's enough beings in this world at this point. I know, though, that, like, Matt and I have always talked about opening up a university. And I think that's one way of, like, actually, raising children, is when you're educating people's minds.
Okay, well, one of my questions, one thing that Nick did, soon after college, he walks the Appalachian Trail, like a 6-month-ish kind of walk. And that's pretty awesome. So I was wondering, this is again with my superlatives, but what was your favorite moment on the trail?
My favorite moment, I don't know. I mean, the end was very bittersweet in many ways. Like, obviously, when you're at the summit of Mount Katahdin in Maine, and this is something, like, I'd wanted to do for, like, decades for my life, and I had actually been working on it for over 5 months, and with my physical body, like, moving myself northward, and I'm finally here at this point, right? It's like, there's a really amazing feeling of, like, finally accomplishing something of that magnitude. And
how many miles?
Especially that size of your entire life, that you sort of dreamt of something like that. What were you saying?
How many miles again is that?
It changes every year, but the year I did it was 2,174.9 miles.
And for someone who doesn't know what the Appalachian Trail is, it starts
in Georgia,
and it goes to Maine.
Yeah.
What was your trail name?
Dr. Nick.
Dr. Nick,
yeah, well,
of course.
Dr. Nick.
I joined Dr. Nick on the trail for one night with my dog.
Yeah, yes. In Maryland.
You started with Dave, right?
I started with Dave, who, funny story, is actually visiting right now, because he was upstate at Yiddish camp, and he's here for one night. So there's this you tend to put these together
life
when
things
people from our lives are all together. It's all
intertwined, man.
coincidence is the raw material that our brains use to create meaning. So that's
okay. But what are the chances that Dave's there at the same time where you're talking? It's I don't know I don't know how it can mean something, but it's a little strange. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so then my final question with the trail is, okay, so say there's some idiot like me who doesn't know nothing about going on no trail.
Well, the most important thing, I think, if you're going to do backpacking.
So first is have a backpack.
Yeah, have a backpack.
Oh, okay. So number
Probably
one.
a good idea.
I
I mean, the most important survival thing is like to remember is the rule of threes, right? And that's like, because like some people, when they think, oh, I'm lost in the woods, what is the most important thing to do? A lot of people say, oh, I better find food. And that's like the absolute last thing you should be like worrying about is food. But anyway, the rule of threes basically says, you can live without air for 3 minutes. Doesn't really matter unless scuba is part of your backpacking odyssey. So air for 3 minutes. You can live without shelter, though, for 3 hours. So if there's like a cold rain or a wind or you're exposed to the elements, you can die in 3 hours. So the most important thing.
How cold does it have to be to die in 3 hours?
Does not have to be cold at all. It
if
can
you're
be
wet.
like 5 degrees, and if you're wet and there's a wind and you're exposed, you will die in 3 hours. So you have 3 hours to make sure you have shelter to keep yourself alive, and then three days for water. So you should find water at some point. You'll be thirsty after the first 24 hours, but you won't die. After 3 days, though, you'll die without water.
You have to do that whole boil. You have to boil it or something, right?
I mean,
Depends on how thirsty you are.
Depends how much you're dying.
And if you don't have,
But if you
don't have
get
fuel to
get
boil,
diarrhea, there's nothing more dehydrating than diarrhea.
yeah, but if you have a water source that is unending, and you'll have really bad diarrhea. But it's better to drink water than go thirsty. I believe is the general consensus.
For sure.
Right, you're just for sure dead. Whenever I think about Nick and the Appalachian Trail, I know Greg did all this hiking. My dream, I said this a long time ago to you guys, dream is you two and me, Machu Picchu. Dream. I still have it. Wow. And I want to do it.
Wow, it's really weird that you just brought that up. I mean, talking about coincidence.
Weird or fake?
Because I was just planning a trip to Machu Picchu yesterday.
No way.
Were you? Fate. Well, what's my last question is, because you've done a lot of things. You've traveled more places than most people will travel. You've done a lot. You've had bands and touring and fun like that. What's one thing you haven't done in life that you really want to do?
Wow, there's a lot that I want to do still. I mean, there's a huge list. I definitely want to sort of use my right brain a little bit more. I'd like to do something, like maybe make a movie, for example, which is something you've done, Matt. I think that's something to be really proud of. Not too many people follow their dreams and do something like that. It's a lot of effort. I mean, you had amazing friends to help you.
I sure did. Well, it takes friends and people around you to push you. Because, like, Greg had this idea for the show. If he wouldn't have run it by me and I would have taken it and said, okay, it would not have happened. So you need someone, at least one person is like, let's do it.
That's very true.
So tell me, you guys apparently have stayed close over the years. Like, how have you done it? Because you guys, I don't think, travel to each other's houses or anything like that. Really. So, like, what's the secret of like maintaining like a long distance friendship over many years?
There's like two things about this. One is that like it's almost to a certain extent of like you say, I'm going to make sure I stay in touch with that person, because like I used to have dogs and I would walk the dogs, and like often, like every couple weeks while I was walking the dogs, I would give Matt a call, and so it's also like getting in a pattern of like, oh, when I walk the dogs, I usually call like my mom or this other friend of mine who moved away, or Matt, right? You know what I mean? And so like I would end up calling them a lot.
But it's also, I think you have to enjoy that our lives are going to change, and I'm going to love that person and be cool with that person no matter what. Because a lot of times we see some, like especially on Facebook, you see someone say something stupid, and all of a sudden you get pissed and you're like, don't talk to them. We all disagree on crap, but we still know as long as you really believe that person's heart's got a good heart, I don't mind disagreeing. And so Greg and I don't
We
confident
spend most of
only-
our time arguing.
Oh, well.
And we love it. Like if I don't argue with Matt, we spend more time arguing now than we ever have, and I love it. Like I would be so bummed if I didn't get to argue with Matt.
Right. It's enjoyable, but you
And
have to be
people
cool.
like people don't like arguments.
It's not a point of me trying to change Greg or Nick's mind. It's just I'm sharing my thought.
You know,
This is a good way to end the segment. Is that in the whole show? Is that let's make it very clear that Nick was more reluctant than anyone else to be on the show, not because of us. The only reason he's on the show is because he cares about us and knows it's important to us. He is a private guy. So first of all, thanks Nick for even doing this. But but he's a reluctant Facebooker.
I don't have time for Facebook. I don't really care about Facebook and all the various distractions that are available to everybody, dehumanizing in many ways. I mean, I work, in deep tech, obviously, but I'm very much anti all of everything that is intrusive to leading a intentional life. It's dopamine addiction. You can be in the bathroom and taking a shit, and you can that's not how things are supposed to be. And,
I will absolutely hold it if I can't have my phone to look at Reddit while I'm shitting. It's not.
I don't know. I get really. I know after the election, at least I was like constantly on Facebook, like way more than I ever like usually am, because like I was like, oh my god. And but I just noticed after like 2 days, like just that actual act of being on Facebook, I had so much anxiety that I never had. Like I'm not an anxious person at all. It's bad. It's just bad for your brain and for sort of your soul, I think.
Well, that was really interesting, thoughtful way to sort of wrap things up there.
Thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for talking with us again. We love you.
Great talking to you guys. Great to see you again.
Well, that concludes another exciting and delectable episode of Face to Face to Face. Please like this video right down here.
Could be over here.
Please subscribe to our channel over here.
On YouTube. Yeah.
On YouTube.
Then you'll know when the next one comes. It'll
just be there. And Matt, let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do next time.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is, I mean, there's a connection in all of the episodes in that we're friends of ours in some way. But if you watch this episode and then the next one, there's even more of a connection that we're going to really dig into because it's interesting.
Yeah, we're going to look at two people who come from a similar environment.
Almost identical, really.
Yeah. And are probably now what you might call very different. And it's interesting because they're very different in ways that Matt and I fall in the middle of that continuum. Maybe I fall more to one side and him to the other, but it can be interesting.
The whole argument, the environment makes who you are, this destroys that. Because Nick, you'll find out, could not be much more different turnout than who we do next month or so.
Yeah.
So we'll see you then.
All right.
Until then, I'm not going to talk to Greg.
Later.